to their touch. Think of the place you wish to go, Dahlia instructed, loud enough for everyone to hear. The glow intensified. Blair was actually doing it, activating the stone's power enough to create an impressive light show. The air around them began to ripple like heat rising from asphalt. "It's working," someone whispered. The light became blinding, and then explosion. Not literal, but a wave of energy that made everyone close their eyes. When they opened them again, Blair and Jessica had vanished. In the deep caves beneath the pack's territory, Blair and Jessica appeared in a chamber lit by glowing crystals. "It worked!" Blair gasped, looking around. "My God, it really worked!" Two other older pack members who had been informed of the plan and were waiting for them. "Welcome to your new temporary home." Blair looked around. The cave was surprisingly beautiful. The crystals provided soft, constant light, an underground stream ran along one wall, and someone had set up cozy sleeping areas with furs and blankets. "It's not so bad," Jessica admitted. "Like, it's still a cave, but it's a fancy cave." "You will spend most of your time in training, learning to feel your energy, control it, direct it. The Veilstone responds to intention and power. If you can master both, you can use it to travel at will." "What about me?" Jessica asked. "You," Tristan appeared from a side passage carrying supplies, "will help me keep both of you fed and sane. And perhaps," he grinned, "learn a few things about our culture in the process." Jessica blushed. "That better include those glowing flowers you mentioned." "Tonight, I promise." Blair watched the exchange, a smile tugging at her lips, despite everything. At least Jessica would have someone, to make this more bearable. "All right," Dahlia arrived and clapped her hands. "Let's begin. Blair, sit down. We'll start with basic meditation." "Meditation? Seriously? How else do you think you're going to learn to control ancient power?" Dahlia raised her eyebrow. Jessica laughed. "She has a point." And so began the strangest, most difficult, and most transformative days of Blair's life. A few weeks later, Blair sat in the center of the training chamber, the Veilstone floating in front of her, glowing with constant golden light. She wasn't touching it. She didn't need to anymore. "Good," Dahlia said, watching from where she stood. "Now, maintaining that control, try to visualize the path, not just the time, but the space. Where do you want to be?" Blair closed her eyes. In her mind, she could see two places. Her and Jessica's apartment. Small, messy, smelling of coffee and scented candles. Safe. Familiar. Home. And the camp. Cassian's cabin with maps spread across the table. The communal campfire where laughter echoed. The space between the trees where she and Cassian stood under the stars. Also, home. "I can see both," Blair whispered. "Clearly." "Then you are ready," Dahlia said softly. "Ready?" "To create the bridge, to make your choice. Or, in this case, your choices," Dahlia smiled. "You don't have to choose one, child. You can have both." Jessica appeared in the entrance, looking different from a few weeks ago. Her hair was pulled back in a loose braid, she wore pack clothing now, and there was a confidence about her that hadn't been there before. "Hey, Tristan told me. Are you really ready?" "I think so." "She is," Dahlia confirmed. "Her control is exceptional, and the stone responds to her as if it recognized its own master." "So what now?" Blair asked. "Now," Dahlia said, "you test. You try to travel forward first, back to your time. See if you can arrive exactly when you want. Then come back here. If it works, I can come and go as I please," Blair finished, barely daring to believe it. "But Blair," Dahlia warned, "even with perfect control, frequent travel comes at a cost. Each journey drains you. You will need rest time between travels. Days, perhaps weeks." "How long in total?" Jessica asked. "If she travels weekly, perhaps 5-10 years before it starts to cause permanent damage." 10 years, Blair thought. That was more than she could have hoped for. "I want to try," Blair said. "Now." They gathered in the main chamber. Blair held the Veilstone. Jessica beside her. Think of your home, Dahlia instructed. Let the stone take you there. Blair took a deep breath, closed her eyes, visualized. The stone grew warm in her hand, then began to vibrate. The air rippled, and then she was standing in her apartment living room. Jessica gasped beside her. It worked! Holy crap, it really worked! Blair looked around. Everything was exactly as they'd left it. What day is it? Blair asked, picking up her phone. It had battery now. They were back in the right time. October 15th, 2025, Jessica read from the screen. Which means a month there was basically a day here, Jessica finished, amazed. It's perfect. We can go to classes tomorrow and no one will even notice we left. Blair felt tears of relief. She could have both. She really could. Are you going back to them? Jessica asked softly. Eventually, but first, Blair looked at her friend. We have lives here too. We can't just ignore that. So what's the plan? Blair thought about it. We live here during the week. School, normality, all that stuff. But weekends we go to 1723 and live with hot werewolves, Jessica finished with a grin. I have to admit, as insane plans go, this isn't the worst. You'll come with me? On weekends? Jessica looked at her, then at the stone still glowing faintly in Blair's hand. Will Tristan be there? Probably. Then yes, obviously yes. Jessica hugged Blair. 2 days later, Blair and Jessica appeared in the crystal chamber in the caves. Dahlia was waiting, a wide smile on her face. Welcome back. How was it? Perfect, Blair said. We arrived exactly when we wanted, stayed 2 days, and now we're back. Excellent. So the bridge holds. Dahlia gestured towards the passages. Go. There are people waiting for you. Blair and Jessica climbed to the surface, emerging in a hidden part of the forest near the camp. It was late afternoon, and the camp was alive with activity. Campfires burning, people laughing, life happening. They're back! Muriel shrieked, seemingly having the sole job of watching through the secret entrance. They're back! Suddenly, people were running towards them. Children, adults, everyone wanting to know if it was true. And then the crowd parted, and Cassian was there. He looked different, perhaps thinner, more tired. Hi, she said softly. Hi, he replied, his voice rough. And then he was moving, closing the distance between them in 3 long strides, pulling her into his arms and holding her as if she might disappear again. A month, he murmured into her hair. Sorry, Cassian, but it was worth it. Cassian, it worked. I can travel between times now. I can have both. What does that mean? It means I live my life there, but weekends, holidays, whenever I can, I come here. To you all. To you. Something lit up in his eyes. Hope. Joy. Relief. For how long? This ability, does it last forever? 10 years. Maybe a little longer. After that, I'll have to choose one world permanently. 10 years, Cassian repeated, and then he smiled. A real, full smile that transformed his entire face. 10 years with you is more than I ever dreamed of having. And after that, he touched her face gently. We'll figure it out. Together. But for now, he kissed her, soft and deep and full of promise. For now, this is enough. Around them, the pack began to cheer. Someone started singing. Children ran around laughing. Tristan appeared beside Jessica, a smug grin on his face. So, you came back. Can't stay away from the glowing flowers, Jessica said, but she was smiling. Only the flowers? And maybe you? A little. I'll take it. Want to go see the flowers? They're especially beautiful tonight. Jessica took his hand. Lead the way, werewolf man. Blair watched them go, then looked back at Cassian. This is insane, you know. 2 worlds, 2 times, trying to balance it all. Completely insane, Cassian agreed. He led her by the hand through the camp, back to his cabin. Inside, everything was as she remembered. Except now, there was a small, clear space on the table. A space for her things. I kept a place for you, Cassian said softly, just in case, hoping. Blair felt tears pricking. I'll always come back. You know that, right? No matter what, I'll always find my way back to you. I know. Because you're stubborn, brave, and completely impossible. You forgot beautiful. And modest. Don't forget modest. Blair playfully nudged him, but she was laughing too. And for the first time since she touched that stupid stone in the museum, she felt peace. She didn't have to choose. Not yet. She had a best friend who would follow her across centuries. She had a pack that welcomed her. And she had a stubborn, protective, and completely impossible alpha who looked at her as if she were her moon and her stars. It wasn't the life she had planned, but it was the life she chose.